Right, time to meet some girls, if they will allow it. There they are. You'd think since I feed them a couple of times a day and give them such a happy home, they wouldn't be convinced that I'm going to murder them, but I guess that's how chickens stay alive. So the really big one there on the left is Bonnie Raitt. And the black one right there in the front, that's Nancy Wilson. I'll try to get close up on them all. They're just too nervous. They weren't ready for their close-up. Anyway, there's the girls. Their names are Bonnie Raitt, Anna Nancy Wilson, Joan Jett, Lizzo, Aretha, and Stevie Nicks. But once I can get them calmed down, I'll give them all a proper introduction. So there they are. They're going outside for the first time tomorrow. I think they're ready. I think they're bored. Hey, chickie. Hey, chickie. You want to come up and introduce yourself? Nope. So those are the new girls. I'll introduce them individually as they become less afraid, less chicken-like. Anyway, we haven't done a garden video in a while, so let's get to that. I want to show off some things that we're doing that's, I don't know if it's a little bit different, but we're doing more of it this year, and that's these cool green stalks. Just because it's really easy to grow things in them. They're cool looking. So this one is all strawberries. I have a little one that I just am starting to plant out this year. It's going to be herbs for the most part, and then I'm going to put some nasturtiums in it. Okay, let's go down to all kinds of new stuff this year. As you can see, there's the front of the garden, and we've expanded out kind of in a controlled way, but this is a new Vigo bed. I'm going to put some annual and some perennial flowers in here. This is going to be really beautiful when it's all completely filled. Pumpkin patch. We really struggled with squash bugs last year and had this great suggestion from my friend Eric, who suggested maybe starting the pumpkins later in the year, and after the squash bugs have, had hopefully passed through. So we've got potatoes in here right now in two of these fire rings. The middle was always ever ornamental, and the two southernmost ones here, I'm going to be planting watermelons in one and pumpkins in the other, but I am waiting hopefully for the squash bugs to get through. This later in the summer, probably early fall, we're going to let the chickens in here to just eat the crap out of those squash bugs. Another bed we have here, this is for strawberries also. Just established it, and we're going to put a few more in. This is a hugel bed, so I don't know if anyone who's ever grown with the hugel method. So underneath this compost, there's like maybe 6-7 inches of compost, and underneath that are a whole bunch of rotting logs. So this is supposed to be a really great method for growing and ensuring that there will be good soil. So 2 new potato beds this year. These are experimental. Basically, we just put cardboard down and then compost on top and planted the potatoes, and we're hilling up with straw. 2 different kinds of potatoes. One's Purple Majesty and one is Purple Viking. The other thing that we did that's different this year is we moved our blueberries, which were not doing really great where they were because it was a little shaded, to these fire rings. And they have done really well. They've all leafed out. A couple more over here. Getting a lot more sun. And they seem to be really happy. Okay, let's go in the garden. Hopefully Blair is done mowing for a minute. Everything in the garden right now is about what you would expect for this time of year. So a lot of cool weather stuff. I do want to show everyone my clematis, which is got such an early start this year, and I'm thrilled to death about it because I think the clematis will cover this arbor earlier than it did last year, which is really fantastic. Okay, I'm going into the garden. Most of what we have going right now are the cool weather things. So we've got 3 different kinds of radishes. French breakfast, which is our favorite, and then experimented with wasabi radish and black radishes. Growing 2 different kinds of turnips. We've got Amelie turnips and haricot turnips. And this is the best year ever for beets. I'm so happy. I've never actually had this many do so well. So maybe I'll actually get some beets this year. Okay, I don't know what it is. It is some kind of a brassica. It is planted right where the albino beets are. So these are albino beets. And these, I don't know what they are. There's some kind of beets that I planted down here. And somehow I had a handful of brassica seeds, I guess, in my hands. And danged if I didn't plant brassicas here, that I don't know what they are either. That's a weird one. That's very weird. I'm usually really careful. And these are both, all of this here is sprouting broccoli. And then we have some purple cabbage, it's not doing horrible, but it just didn't germinate very much. Cabbage continues to kind of vex me. Down here, these little guys are bulbing fennel. I have a few in here. Coming around here, this was a strawberry bed, and now it is chamomile. I'm hoping to really fill this bed. Stuff that came back from last year is tarragon, which will come back. It should come back every year for a while. The rosemary, I always start my rosemary from seed, so this is just starting to take off now. The sage coming back from last year. And this is the bulbing onions, which I desperately need to give them a haircut, but they seem to be doing really well. Here we have chives and green garlic. And then for all these beds, there's nothing in here now, but there will be in the next couple of weeks. This is Blair's passion project. Potatoes. He basically took a bunch of little potatoes that we had sitting in our refrigerator from last year and dumped them in some bags, and danged if they didn't grow. So he's really excited about his little project here. This I am excited about, but before I show that to you, I want to show you this, which is the asparagus from last year. Let's see if we can get a good look at it. Yeah, so you can see you have to wait a couple years before you can eat any of your asparagus. So this is the second season for this asparagus. Next year we'll be able to take a little bit of it, and the year after we should be able to take as much as we want. In addition to this that we started last year, there's these little teeny guys that we started this year, and this stuff right here is the standard asparagus. These on the end are both purple asparagus. And related to that, I really thought my purple asparagus that I started from seed wasn't going to germinate, so I ordered crowns. And then my little ones from seed germinated. So we're going to have 2 asparagus beds. So this right here, how well you can see this, but this bed right here, this is purple asparagus. The crowns really started to come up. They're doing really well. And so this is going to be a few years before we can take any of it, but I'm just thrilled that it's doing as well as it is. This bed's coming back from last year. This is coneflowers or echinacea. Coming back, doing fine. This is our Chinese cabbage, also doing really well. I'm hoping that this hot weather we're getting this week isn't going to cause them all to go to seed, because I love growing this stuff. It's really expensive at the store, so it's cool when you can grow it yourself. Raspberries, coming back, doing fine. Another potato bed. This has red, let's see, what did we grow in here? They are, let's see if I can find the tag. Here we go. Dark red Norland. Yeah, that's what most of this bed is. Down here is blue Adirondack. And honestly, up here at the top, I don't know what it is because some critter stole the tag and I didn't write it down. So I don't know what it is, but it's doing well. And then right next door, we have our leeks and shallots. The plan next year is to have an entire bed full of shallots because we use a lot of them and we never seem to have enough. Okay, moving over here, this nothing bed is going to be filled with zinnias. Back here is the butterfly bed that we started last year. So it has some, what I believe, are milkweed coming up right in the middle there. And I think some butterfly weed coming up right there. So that's good to see. We'd hope that that would establish. There's volunteer sunflowers kind of going up everywhere in the garden, and I am letting them go because how sweet is that? And this bed right here has a lot of the kind of cool weather greens. So I've got 3 different kinds of kale, cilantro, this is orac, winter density, winter density romaine, and this is cauliflower. And up against the fence or up against the cattle panel trellis is peas. They're doing pretty well. Then we have our other green stalks. So these are planted with cool weather things, and there's a lot of blank spaces because we've been harvesting a lot. We've got lettuce on this one for the most part. This up here is Norfolk spinach, which I've never grown before, and I'm really thrilled that it's doing as well as it is. Over here is pretty much exclusively bok choy. There's 3 different kinds of bok choy in here. We love to eat Asian, so having bok choy is just wonderful. This is one I've been waiting for it to grow. It's Purple Lady. They don't get very big, but I'm just dying for these to get just a little bigger so we can start harvesting them. This one is Suzu bok choy. Had quite a bit of this. It's really great just to take a whole one, cut it in half, and then give it a hard char. And then for the most part, I think these are pak choy right here. I think we just have one of those left. And I'm probably not going to replant them because it is getting to the point where it's going to be too hot for these guys. So we'll be just eating what we have. And then what I plan to do is fill at least this with nasturtium, and I'm not sure about the other one. Something that can handle warm weather. And the garlic. Garlic is doing fantastically well. Really happy with how well it's doing, and I'm really especially delighted with these little volunteers in here, which is dill, kind of volunteering all through the garlic. And then at the end of the garlic bed, we put green onions. Really hard to see because they're mulched with grass, but they're doing really well. This bed will be eventually planted with beans, tomatoes, and sunflowers, but right now I have artichokes in here. My artichokes all germinated, did really well. I had a few of them attacked by, we think, rabbits. So a few of them I was able to protect with these wire cloches. I ordered a few more so I can protect them. But they're doing well. I think we're going to get a lot of artichokes this year. Some places artichokes can be grown as perennials, but not where we live because it just gets too cold. Then over here, more greens. This is arugula and mustard. And then over here we have carrots. Lots of them. I think it's going to be a good carrot year. And then along the edge there is parsnips. So that's looking pretty good. Then Again, these have not been planted. There will be mostly tomatoes and beans, basil. Here is elephant garlic. And then one thing that I did this year is I started a bunch of borage. So this guy is right here, because that's really good to interplant with tomatoes. So they're planted everywhere. So there's still quite a lot that needs to be done here, but it is now. Hey, there's our intrepid mower.
Send help! It's a slave driver, please!
Don't listen to him. You probably couldn't hear him anyway.
Get beaten later, huh?
So here's the irises. They're about ready to come into bloom, and then this bed is doing exactly what I hoped it would. It is filling up with thyme. Thyme is such a great living mulch, and I love that it comes back every year, and we do use a lot of it. And then over here, this gorgeous creeping Jenny is doing really well. We've been busy weeding, so we were able to get a lot of crap out of here. Yeah, so still a lot to do. It's going to be just a really interesting year. We're doing some different things. This over here is I'm excited about just because it's volunteer sunflowers. I mean, look at those guys. I was going to plant sunflowers here anyway, and they're kind of doing their thing. Oh, one last thing, just because I'm excited about it. I love growing pansies, and so some of these came back from last year, and some of these are new ones. But look at that. That is an insanely beautiful color. With that wind chime on there that I got from my sister for birthday, I believe it was, that she sent it. Isn't that pretty? So there you have it. That's the garden tour for this early spring day. There will be more to come. We are just getting started. A lot of really cool things that we're growing this year, and I'm excited to put those up on video so friends and family can see them. But otherwise, happy gardening, everybody.
Happy gardening.